So, dear students, I hope we are live. Yes, yes, we are live. So, welcome everyone, and thanks a lot for joining in on Saturday morning, and appreciate our panelists also, Ajay as well as Ganesh, who are made time today to come in here and address the students. So, as we discussed, as we highlighted in the this meeting invite, and as we highlighted what we're going to do today, we at OneFin by Indigo Learn are conducting a session on career opportunities for students of for chartered accountants who have actually qualified in May 24. And this is this session is moderated by me, Sriram. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Indigo Learn, and we have two gentlemen here, Ajay Jawar and Ganesh Shankar Raman. Both of them are chartered accountants. Ajay is a partner at Deloitte India, Audit and Assurance. He works out of Hyderabad. And Ganesh is Senior VP Finance at CP Technologies, and he's also CFO at CP Digital Services Limited. Right. So let me just introduce both of them in a minute, their background, so that you understand, where they're coming from. So I'll first go with Ganesh. Ganesh is a qualified chartered accountant and cost accountant with over 26 years of extensive experience in various industries like automobile, commodities, technology, NBFC. He has played a pivotal role in corporate turnarounds and risk management. Currently, he is Senior VP Finance at CP Technologies, a leading ICT player in India with a turnover of around 4,000 crores. And he's also the CFO of CP Digital Services, besides holding directorial positions in other CP group entities. He's got a lot of awards: inspirational finance leader, CFO dynamic leader, top 100 CFO, best CFO, CFO innovation in M&A. So he's someone who's got wide range of expertise in finance domain, and both as a finance leader as well as someone who interacts with from finance with non-finance, finance with finance people. So a bunch of stuff. So a wealth of experience there. And he's also spoken at several, places like IIT and IIM, so on and so forth. So that is first about Ganesh. Then, second gentleman we have is Ajay. Ajay is partner in the audit and assurance function of Deloitte Haskins and Sells. He's been with Deloitte for 18 years now, right from his articleship days. Ajay has managed stat audit engagements for several large, complex clients. This includes clients with operations in India, outside India, and his clients served include listed and other large public entities. He has extensive experience in stat audit and has handled many special assignments, including IFRS and US GAAP conversions. He's a very active speaker at various forums, including at the ICAI. He was All India rank holder both in CA Intermediate and CA Final exams. He's also a ICAEW, that is Institute of Chartered Accountants of England and Wales. He's also ACA from there, and has qualified the CISA exam. He's a commerce graduate from Osmani University. So this is a brief about both these gentlemen. Now, moving on, right? After that introduction, before I actually hand over the floor to these two gentlemen, there is one small thing I wish to highlight. Just hold on for 1 second. There is something very small thing that I wish to highlight. Right. So this is about the number of CA students, the number of qualified who have joined the workforce in the last 15 attempts. Right. So if you look at this current attempt, in the current attempt, the number of people who have joined, or rather people who have become chartered accountants, is about 20,000. 20,446, much higher than the average of 12,749. Historically, it's been 10, 14, 12, 13 in that range. So there is a lot of there are a lot of people who are unnecessarily concerned, at least in my opinion. And let us check what the panelists say. That this 20,000 is too large a number. There may not be jobs. There's too much competition and bunch of stuff. So, excuse me. So we'll get to hear from our panelists what they think of this. The second thing is the pass percentage as well. This time the pass percentage is around 29%. The previous peak was 30. Okay, that was also in November 2018 when new syllabus was introduced, right? So otherwise it has been on an average about 19.8 or 20% for CA final, right? So this is a broad construct I want to place in front of everybody. And there is one thing I want to highlight. This probably is from a competitor of Ajay. So there's this post this came out last week, which popped up on my feed by some recruiter in EY, Dishani Banerjee, I guess. What they said was they're looking for assurance cluster for Bangalore, Chennai, and Hyderabad. And you see, they've said strong verbal skills, team skills, flexible, comfortable, interacting, strong leadership. Please share your resume. So, what was it that I found very interesting in this? Nowhere have they said that we need strong technical skills. They either assume that as a chartered accountant, you already have it, or probably all these other skills are also equally important or more important. I don't know which way they view it. But that was something that very, very clearly stood out for us, at least for me in this particular post. I wanted to highlight this to everyone. Right. Now that this highlight is, this part is over, where I wanted to give a brief introduction. Now, I have a bunch of queries that students have sent us, right? What I will do is I will post these queries to both our, panelists. And, this is going to be more interactive and people can, Ganesh and Ajay, both of you can butt in wherever required. And, each question is for both of you. So first question, let me start off. What is your recruitment process, Ajay? So if you can tell me, how does recruitment work in Deloitte?
Sure. Thanks. Thanks a lot, Shriram. And, before I start, once again, congratulations to all the participants here. You have become chartered accountants. That's one of the most, recognized professional degree across the world. It's something not very easy. Absolutely. Welcome to the CA Club. Is first, I would like to congratulate you once again. Now, coming to the recruitment process, maybe what I will speak today is more not organization specific. It might be more my personal opinions over here, and it has nothing to do with the organization as such. The recruitment process has different layers of interviews. First is that it starts with the HR round. It kind of looks into more in terms of how the communication skills of the individuals are, how they are more flexible, adaptable, and more importantly, what kinds of is looked at is whether you are adaptable in the sense, do you have a learning attitude? I mean, there are many things that you learn during your articleship, during your CA studies. What we really want to look at is, can you kind of do some unlearning and then start adapting to the work environment that we have? One of the very critical things that we look at. Then we have two rounds of, while we call it as a technical round. I mean, when we look at the technical round, it's first starts with the manager, senior manager, who does the first level round, and followed by the second level round by the partner. Now, what again, while we call it as a technical round, I would like to allude with what Shriram did mention. Technical knowledge is one piece that you can look at the books and then answering it. This is one piece that we are not so much concerned about during the interview. What we look at is the real experience that the chartered accountant would have gained during his or her articleship. And if we really see that the individual, whether it is from a big four articleship or not, whether it is from a mid-size firm or not, whether it is from a small size firm or not, what we really want to see is that, yes, the individual has done some amount of work during the articleship. He or she can explain to us the client's business that they have been involved into, without, of course, naming the client, and of course, not delving into too many things that might be confidential. But at the end of the day, we ask certain questions which we kind of understand and then realize, oh yes, this individual has actually done some real work during his articleship, and he or she is not giving us some bookish knowledge. That's, I believe, I can stop there. Maybe Ganesh, if you want to add certain things on your part.
Yes, good morning to all, and congratulations to each one of you for completing the CA. As Ajay has mentioned, that it's very difficult to complete it, and you are venturing into the new line of professional qualification. It is like from the student to transformation to a professional. That's a big thing, and that is going to be our longest period of professional life. And once again, congratulations to you. Here, the recruitment process here is that I like to look at someone who is capable of looking at something differently. Second thing is that whether he or she, whatever they have done, whether they have done it with knowledge and focus, attention, and all. Some of see, as if I'm interviewing 4 or 5 candidates for a position, that with the qualification, with the CV, all are same for me. And while interviewing, then I can understand that whether he or she is, very particular about a particular domain, whether it could be taxation, could be accounts, could be audit, could be MIS kind of thing. So I like to see someone who is capable of shifting one domain to another domain. So if somebody is having experience or interest more than one domain, then automatically my interest towards them will go up, instead of restricting only to one domain. Second, whether they have done in more than one company, more than one set of company. Like if somebody has an experience in MDFC, if there is also have experience in manufacturing company, then to the extent the probability of selecting is very high there. So recruitment process, basically it is not fixing or meeting the requirement of current organizational requirement, but also for the future leaders, to becoming future leaders. So capability, attitude, temperament, and all very important to scale up in the organization. So basically, if they are having that sort of passion and energy, I think the probability of getting them is very high. Here, in the current situation, if I need a person, then it is very difficult to get it within 3 or 4 months of time. So we have a process of getting people and then deploying at the right moment and giving the training so that they'll be prepared themselves while there is a need in the organization for a particular domain. So my requirement is that not to fix into one domain, and may be capable of handling many domains if the need arises. Hello?
Sriram, we couldn't hear you.
Sorry, my bad. Yeah, so Ganesh, want to check one thing. So you look for specifically for people who have multiple domain knowledge. Basically, you are interested in people who are also interesting. Is that it?
Yeah. See, so suppose I may require someone to be deployed in the traditional thing like AP, AR, taxation, and treasury. So if I need to have someone who is having expertise and knowledge about the business, whether they have worked in an organization or not before, at least during the articleship period, if they did audit of a company, I need to know what they have understood about the company. Even they come across only a particular segment of the company, it is fine with me. At least they have understood the entire process about that. Suppose, for example, in the case of manufacturing company where they have done only inventory audit, it is fine with me whether they have understood it fully.
Okay. And how many rounds do you have?
2 rounds. One round will be done by the person who is going to be the manager of the candidate.
Okay.
Other with me.
Oh, okay. This is in addition to the HR round.
Of course, HR would be there even for both the rounds.
Okay.
HR would be there for both the rounds. Actually, after we have selected them, then the negotiation, everything will be involved with HR. It is like our fixing or finalizing the candidates lies with us, and a negotiation with HR.
Okay. And if I may ask, if you're okay to tell, what is the starting salary range for a fresher that you recruit?
It depends, because even for the fresher also, not somebody having experience in Big Four or in a domain, and some of the people would have taken 2-3 attempts by the time they would have got some experience. So it is not only fresher; it varies from 6 to 8 lakhs on a normal basis.
Okay, understood. Thanks. And Ajay, I wanted to check with you on one thing. You said you look for people where you said you're expecting people to unlearn something. What do you mean by that?
So, Sriram, the kind of technologies we during the audit, certain times we expect the individuals to, they might have seen certain situations, certain scenarios in which they would have done the audits. We definitely want to see individuals who might want to maybe move from, manual audit checks,
Okay.
file buildings, physical, files to the software-driven audits that we use.
Okay. Okay. Understood. And how many rounds do you have? You said, I think, 2 rounds, right?
So with the HR, 3 rounds.
Which has 3 rounds. And what is the starting salary range for you in Deloitte typically?
So, unfortunately, Shriram, I won't be able to go into specifics, but then as Ganesh mentioned, there will be, Big Four versus non-Big Four articles. Then, who will really see that there is some value in those. We are very competitive with the market.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. So moving to the next question, Ajay, this is for you. Do connections and friendships help? I mean, is networking the thing, or is it purely a candidate worth? Because there is this whole image, or rather narrative built around, Big Four, that, I have friends there, I know the partner there, I know somebody there, I pushed my resume. Do you think such kind of things happen?
So, Shriram, to be candid with you, yes, it does happen. But having said that, it only opens the door. End of the day, it only, kinds of opens the door for you to go for an interview. At the end of the day, what matters is whether you have a reference or not. Are you really having the passion in terms of, getting into an audit profession? And that is where we really kind of do a lot of stress test on the candidates, see if they are, showing that amount of level of interest to do the work. And so networking, yes, in any profession, networking will help, but that is only kind of opening the door for the candidate. It's not going to go beyond that. I mean, beyond that, it's only going to be your individual persona that is going to help you. I think
Oh,
so. That's my answer to that.
okay, fair enough. Ganesh sir, what is your view? Do you think all this whole networking, connections, friendships, all of that helps?
To some extent, it is right. Some extent is useful. For example, his passion, his interest, and longevity in the organization, plus some sort of integrity,
Oh,
because you already been tested. No, you know that person has been tested. So for those areas, I think it is useful.
hmm.
But in terms of selecting that, in terms of understanding his domain knowledge and all, it may not be useful, is what I'm saying. I think it's only for the entry side.
Yeah. So like what Ajay said, just opens the doors, nothing beyond that.
Opens the door, plus some sort of additional, like as I said,
Oh,
integrity and longevity
fair.
and
Oh,
his nature, his
oh,
culture. Those
fair.
things.
Next question is to you, Ganesh. How many people do you recruit in your organization every year? Chartered accountants.
Not based on every year basis. As I said, that I used to have somebody before the need arises, so that I can be the person can be trained in different domain. And it is not based on the annual basis. I would say that if you average it out, then I would be requiring one or two.
Okay. And right now you have openings?
I have openings now.
Okay.
I have openings because somebody is leaving the organization, because of which I need have. So I have two openings now. One for the present requirement, and the other one is for the future requirement.
Okay. So Ajay, same question to you. How many people do you guys recruit, or specifically your team, or Hyderabad office, India operations? How many do you recruit? Any idea?
So again, it can range into hundreds. Certain times it can go beyond that. While I'm saying that count, it's not just the chartered accountants, but also the other non-chartered accountants that we look at, especially associates as well as other graduates who can support us. End of the day, at this point of time, it's kind of a backfill. Those who would have left in the last 6 months is where we are looking at recruiting them, maybe in the range of, at least in my team, 4 to 5 candidates, not more than that. But overall, it's quite a large number for the overall India.
Oh. And as you know, I think you briefly touched this in the initial part, but what do you look for in a candidate? Let's say the resume comes to you. How much time do you spend on a resume? I mean, obviously somebody else would have filtered it and it reaches you. But then what is it that you actually look? Is first attempt very important? Is rank important? Or you look for variety of people for variety of roles? How does this work?
Yeah, maybe attempts, really, Sriram, we do not look at it so much in detail. What we really look at is the individual able to go through the level of stress. Certain times we ask certain very simple mini case studies. What if, like I'm giving examples here, what if you find an inventory physical verification you perform and then you find the difference? And then we kind of act like, I'm the client and then the interviewer is interviewing. So we kind of try to see whether he's really able to go through that stress and then come out very calmly and then explain his point of view, not getting agitated. The second, what we really look at is the passion. I mean, if the guy is really interested to, like Ganesh mentioned, really interested in that particular job profile. Of course, longevity, we ask the candidates do tell, we look at a long term, 10 years, 15 years, but that's kind of discounted. We know that, there's a lot of infant attrition that happen in any organization. People may or may not like the job next month, 6 months, but what we really look at is the individual willing to contribute at least for 2 to 3 years is what we look at. And beyond that, it's anyone's guess. I mean, neither the candidate might, you can just promise certain things, but we don't know what will really happen after.
Okay. And about technical knowledge, is it the determining factor, or that you believe that you can teach them after they join?
See, it's not the determining factor. And also, I wouldn't say that we will teach them as such. At least we will be just wanting to be sure that they're sure about the basics. Basics in the sense, what are the key assertions for doing audit of revenue? They should be able to tell us that, it is the completeness, the accuracy, the rights and obligations. So those things are basics. Certain basic questions like, what's the audit rotation term? And then, we give them a scenario of the paid up capital is so and so. What is your answer? So we not really look at if he or she recollect each and every provision of each and every section, but at least conceptually that individual is there. I mean, is what we look at, Sriram.
Okay, great. Thanks. So, sir, Ganesh, what is your view?
Technical knowledge, we presume that they have got it through the curriculum itself. Plus, it is not only the technical knowledge, as he has also mentioned, his interest, passion, all those things matters actually in determining factor.
So I had a query here. So because, I also worked in a corporate, I always thought that in corporate, you should know how to navigate. I'm not saying in a big four, you don't need to. Even there, probably you need to know how to navigate. But in corporate, probably you're looking at more technical skills than the big four. And Ajay, you can feel free to, correct me here. But more non-technical skills, because you need to have business finance and business interaction, non-technical interaction is very heavy. So do you think that there is more weightage in a corporate for non-core skills?
If you look at technical knowledge, even if you are placing them on taxation, placing them on accounts payable, placing them on receivable and all, their knowledge, even though they have expert knowledge, would be about maximum of 10% of their domain knowledge we require in that position.
Correct.
Even they have expertise in that knowledge. I think what I look at is that they are the people who are capable of learning. The CI I'm looking at is that they are capable of learning new things. And whatever they know something about secretarial matters, something about taxation, something about accountancy, financial reporting. See, for example, if I am putting someone in a treasury, if there is an intercompany transaction happening, then it will flag to their mind that requires some sort of board approval, because board approval they would have studied somewhere else. And plus, it has an implication of taxation. There is a TDS, there is an element, there's a filing to be done. So it is only a question of flashing to their mind.
So all 8 subjects or 6 subjects of final, the candidate needs to remember and know, at least broadly, jack of all, master of none.
No, they may not know. See, they may not know entire thing. In fact, even I admit that they may not know entire thing. And of course, whether it will flash to their mind or not is also a question. But having a person who is a treasury fellow who doesn't have any exposure in accounting, reporting, or secretarial, as compared to the CA having some knowledge about other things, I think they are having edge over others, because they know that what all the checks and balance they need to check before entering into the transaction. So that to that extent, that the technical knowledge is very important. I think even they have technical knowledge, as I said, that their expertise would be max 10%.
Correct.
of the requirement. So we need to train them to the extent that somebody may take about 3 to 4 months of time to get it trained. Somebody may require further more time. So we need to be patient enough to understand that not all the candidates are capable of getting the training quickly or really. So we are aware that the point, and we are also that is the reason I'm saying no. I am giving training before the thing requires, because if I'm giving if I'm recruiting someone who has already left in place of someone who has already left, I may not give KT to them.
Correct.
So to the extent their performance will come down because they don't know what to do. They know something about the subject, but practical knowledge they don't have. So they could not perform. So if somebody joins in my team, my responsibility to make them successful, make them aware, make them relevant to being transferred within the finance team itself. So to the extent, it is very important to give training, even though they possess technical knowledge as per based on the curriculum they have come across.
Then next question, I think we've already answered that. Are non-technical skills as important as technical skills? I think both of you said yes. If I'm not wrong, correct me there.
Yeah.
So Ganesh, what are the red flags you look for in a candidate?
Attitude first and foremost.
Attitude is not good. No matter how smart, how brilliant candidate is, you won't recruit.
No way.
Okay. And what about you, Ajay?
Similar. I mean, more importantly is also the integrity. If at any point of time, we understand that looks like the candidate is not so clear, and of course at the sorry. Yeah. So what I was saying was the integrity of that individual. If at any point of time we kind of feel that this candidate is not telling truth, and maybe he's lying here and there, at that point of time it kind of puts us off, because end of the day this is a very, what do you say, a profession in which it's built on trust, right? And if you can't very truthfully answer us, we don't know whether you will be able to go and truthfully work at the client.
It is like adding a rotten vegetable into the basket.
Correct. Great. So how do you think candidates can differentiate themselves in their resume or in their interview? What do you think they should do different, Ajay? Do you think they should, something do, we see, in a lot of movies and all these web series, the candidates do something very, very weird, very, very different to catch attention. So do you think, I mean, we need not be so extreme, but what is it in a resume that you would really genuinely like, this is the guy I have to chat, or this is the girl that I have to chat? What should they do in the interview? What should they say in the interview which can actually, help?
Maybe what really helps is when we look at the candidate's resume. Nowadays, people prefer one page or two pages, so that it is very easy for us to kind of quickly grasp it. Apart from the academics, the educational qualification, what we look at is what are the other non-work routine that the individual does. Something that kinds of puts us on with that individual is if they play sports. I mean, if they are at least interested in some hobbies which might be more to do with physical. At the end of the day, this is a profession where you should be mentally happy. I mean, with the work that you do. So you should know when to kind of break from the work and also do certain non-work activities. So that is one thing where we kind of see, and then if we kind of some common interest in the individual plays table tennis, so we kind of chat but I could really kind of see whether he really knows table tennis, at least some basics. So
basically, you're looking for a rounded individual, not
absolutely a balanced individual who can we will see, we are here to make them specialists, so that's okay. But we look at a generalist, but they are there in all the forums, disciplines. They know the basics of tax, they know the basics of indirect tax, they know the basics of audit, accounting. We are here to make them a specialist.
Okay. What about you, Ganesh? What do you look at in terms of what should they do, or rather, what should the candidate do to get your attention in a resume or an interview?
They should state the fact instead of copying from someone else. They should state the fact, because most of the times I'm spending a lot of I'm in the sense, in fact, the manager who is recruiting the candidate spending a lot of time in differentiating what has been given in the resume and what the candidate is actually doing. And to the extent the time is getting wasted, and the right candidate will not get recruited because we are consuming a lot of time in spending, interviewing the candidate, which is the resume has something and they don't possess the knowledge and expertise.
Oh,
So one is fact. Second one is, as Ajay mentioned, that if somebody is having other expertise to the extent they'll also be socially relevant. The social relevance also be useful to meet the intercompany relations related aspects, and more negotiation skill, and more articulation skills. So these are the advantages we are having if somebody has more than curriculum, and if they are engaging with other aspects of life.
okay. And what is your take on this whole AI thing, artificial intelligence? Do you take
100%,
away
100%, there is no doubt about it.
what? They will take away jobs? CA jobs?
CA job in the sense, what is look at for CA? If you look at the traditional way of audit, tax, something like MIS, something like treasury, most of the questions are all, if I have 5 people in one domain, I don't require 5 people after a few years. I may require 3.
How many years?
Few years in the sense, maybe I would say 3-4 years down the line.
Oh, is it so soon?
Definitely,
Oh,
definitely.
okay.
And we are also looking something like how to automate most of the things which actually requires manual intervention.
Oh, interesting.
And if somebody is having expertise, I would like to share something here
Mm.
to those who have completed CA. Don't look at that you are going to work as a taxation expert over a period of time, or maybe a financial reporting expert over a period of time. I think you need to be AI/ML specialist or cybersecurity specialist, and then having a knowledge of financial reporting, having a knowledge of taxation and all. Because the way for the last 5 years have been seen in financial reporting, in direct taxes, in indirect taxes, and auditing and all. It is soon that you will not, whatever you are thinking about, that I'm going to do this work in organization, whether it is auditing or even corporate, that work may not be there in another 5 years of time. That work may not be there. So be relevant, do something new, something like M&A related, something financial planning related, something like lead management related. So look at your bandwidth is actually taking care of future requirement of our organization. Because if you are entering into the organization to meet the present requirement may not be there after a few years. If that be the case, you may not be relevant to that organization.
Oh,
So have knowledge in AI, ML, something like cyber security.
sure.
Now I'm saying banking company is not a banking company. They are not doing lending. They are a technology company also doing lending. Any bank cannot survive without having technology, uh, and technology knowledge and technology expertise, or cyber security or something so on. So if we are weak in technology, I don't think will be relevant for the future period of time.
Okay.
Make sure that you have to necessarily go beyond AI updation so that you will still be relevant.
Okay.
This is I don't have any doubt. This is going to be 100% sure.
So what's your view, Ajay?
So I kind of have balanced the view here, Sriram. While the initial looks of it seems like AI might take away jobs, but I can give you one recent example. So there's one large payment processing company, a shared service center. So they work and then they do the payment processing AP transactions for a very large organization. Earlier, there used to be individuals who used to look at the payments and see if there are any duplicate invoices, right?
Mm.
And then see if in the past the similar invoice with a similar amount has been paid to the same vendor. Now, this entire activity this year has been taken up by a bot, which has been developed by the company. And then what it is now doing is it is kind of reducing the efforts of that individual to kind of go back and look at the duplicate payments. If the bot is throwing them the data saying that, looks, these are the potential duplicates. Now you please analyze whether this is the actual duplicate or not. So I think it might assist at this point of time, and it might not take away a job. Is what I think. It might assist the individual to review the potential duplicates before he or she finally calls it out as a duplicate. Second is the beginning thing which I told Sriram was unlearning and then learning. Now, to audit this particular bot, now what I have learned all these years, it's of no use for me. I mean, I now need to kind of go unlearn and then figure out how to audit the logic of this bot, take the help of my IT colleagues, and then see if the logic has been appropriately built in, and then say that, okay, this control works very well with the organization. So these are the balance, the answer here, Sriram. I think it might assist, and certain points of view might be there that it might take away a job. End of the day, it might not be able to take away the judgment that we apply while processing the transactions or while I am doing an audit.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. So, last question that I have for both of you: how do we apply for a job? In fact, I want to post this on this thing where if we have somebody is there's a candidate who is intending to apply for a job, what should they do? Where should they send an email, or what should they do? That is the next question, actually.
So maybe for me, I mean, I believe there are a lot of LinkedIn forums which are already existing, which our HR team is taking care of. So on the LinkedIn, we have already posted a lot of these things. I can check and then I can let you know, Sriram, and come in.
Let me know an email address. I'll add this to the description of the video on YouTube, so that students can send out their resumes. Ganesh sir, what is the email address to which people should send emails if they are interested in joining with you?
I'll share with you. I'll share it. HR email is there. I'll share.
Okay. So both cases, you'll share with me what the thing is. Right. So then now we have a couple of questions here that have actually students have asked. How many attempts they consider while giving a job? I think you've already answered that, especially Deloitte, you said attempts is not really the primary thing. And Ganesh also said, you said, right, attempts, to certain extent matter, but beyond that, no, right? Ganesh, am I correct? Yes. Okay. Next question is, if we fail, okay, so that is again same question. Then another question that somebody's asked is, what is the work-life balance and how is work pressure? This is a good question. So both of you, any of you can take it up, and then we can move forward.
So my view of work life is that life is a bigger thing, and work is inside the life. If you think that life is outside the work, I think there is something wrong with that.
Okay.
So I am very sure that all of us are spending a lot of time. We are spending 9-10 hours in an organization, and creamy portion of our life is we are spending at the office, and that environment should be kept nice, good, comfortable, so that we will be spending another 3-4 hours of time with the family and other things. Instead of having whether I'm going to work 3 days in office, 2 days at home. Beyond that, I think we have to look at whether we are spending 9 hours, 10 hours, 4 hours, whether the atmosphere is good, whether there is a possibility of keeping ourselves engaged, possibility of learning more, probability of earning more, probability of scaling up further, both professionally and personally. It is not the hours being spent. The hours being spent, don't look at if I'm spending 9 hours, my work-life balance is affected. If I'm spending 5 hours, the work-life balance is not affected. That is not the case. The environment should be good for you to do more work with happy, with passion, with the energy. I think that's what I look at work-life balance is all about.
Oh, great. What about you, Ajay? I know audit firms and specifically, Big Fours have a challenge in this. At least there's a perception. So how do you guys handle it?
No, let me be very candid. This perception, I don't think it is wrong. It is right, and there is a lot of stress that gets involved during the work, and largely it's also due to the kind of very regulated profession we are involved, the client-facing roles that we are into. There's a lot of work that happens at the right point of time. There are tight deadlines, and there are a lot of interactions that we have to be part of. So I can only suggest that initial 2-3 years work-life balance is something that the candidates may not be so much focused on. There are, but I'm at the end of the day, I'm also not saying that it's like 365 days, 24/7 non-stop working, but there will be a lot of situations. Say, suppose there is an IPO engagement of a client. I mean, there's nothing that if it requires working on a weekend, it requires working on weekend. So these are a couple of years, 2-3 years where you will have to struggle. You'll have to see that you make some good impressions with your seniors in the organization, and it will help you grow. So these 3 years should be a struggle, and then maybe then you should then also know when to stop work and when to so you will get a fair idea on how the work life balance by yourself you can manage.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. So that was interesting discussion, gentlemen. I don't have any more questions, so let me just check once again. Are there any more questions? No. At the moment, I don't have any further questions. So thanks a lot for joining the session today, and appreciate both of you taking time out to come and address our students here, and give your perspective or share your perspective on what you think is the current crop of students, or rather freshly qualified chartered accountants should do, what kind of opportunities exist, and any last words. And specifically, do you think this 20,000 students qualifying at the same time, do you think it has any impact or no impact? And with that, probably any last lines, and we can close the session.
If I can take it first, I don't think there is any impact, Sriram. There are a lot of opportunities available. It's just that the candidates will have to have the right mindset. They should also be very clear. It should not be a case where they don't get an opportunity in any other place, or they go into some place. They should be very clear on what they want, whether it is audit, whether it is tax, whether it is practicing their own this thing setup, or joining industry, within industry, which kind of industry. There are so many opportunities, and sometimes maybe the candidates should not be so location specific, is what I think. They should be a bit location agnostic. If you don't find the real opportunity in Hyderabad, you should be a bit flexible to go out and work in the other locations like Chennai, Bangalore, Delhi, Bombay will have a lot of other industries which Hyderabad may not really have. So that's where my last words are, Sriram. Thank you.
Okay. Ganesh, what do you have to say?
And it is good only. It is good only. Number of chartered accountants required in the industry is very high, and that can be everywhere. That need not be only the industry, or audit firm, or consultancy firm, or startup company. It is there everywhere. The requirement is there everywhere, but it is like a marathon race. 20,000 people are at the same pace. Whether after 5 kilometers, whether entire 20,000 people would be there or not. So after 10 years, after 15 years, like a marathon, you have 1 lakh people starting, and they may not reach the destination to the extent is required. Somebody wanted to be a CFO of an organization, then they need to have domain of everything. So they need to have knowledge, expertise in everything. It is not like a CFO taxation, CFO financial reporting. No, CFO consisting of everything. And if you are moving up in the ladder, the limitation is your limitation. As Ajay said, if you have a limitation in terms of moving from one place to another place, your growth is limited. If you are moving from one domain to another domain within finance, your growth is limited. So if you are making yourself free enough and to venturing into a new field, new thing, like I said, no, I need one person to take care of ESG. And I'm looking at somebody like whether engineering student can be used, or maybe chartered accountant can be used, because it has financial element, it has operational element as well. If you have financial and operational element, then one need to have expertise in at least one field. Domain knowledge is, is evident. It is required fully. So what I say is the opportunities are everywhere, and I am taking care of the investor relations as well. So the ESG and BRSR, those related aspects also need to be followed by the organization. So make yourself flexible enough to learn more things. Don't restrict yourself. As Ajay said, initial period you should not restrict yourself, so that you'll get knowledge, more and more knowledge, so that your ability to apply the knowledge is also very high. That actually makes you to grow faster than other colleagues of yours. And he has started with learning, unlearning. That is very important. I have completed my CA in the late 90s. None of the acts are applicable now. Whether it is Companies Act, whether it is Income Tax Act, whether it is there are new acts have come. Service tax, nothing is relevant now.
Correct.
So whatever I have learned, I need to unlearn first, then relearn. So if you have longevity, so you need to unlearn and relearn. And I have seen for the last 10 years, even though I have 26 years, for the first 16 years, that was that period where not much of learning and unlearning required. Now there are a lot of acts and regulations are coming up, and one should know RBI regulations, one should know IBC, one should know DPDP Act. They're huge. The opportunities are huge. It is not just, don't think that you are doing taxation or financial reporting or MIS. There are avenues are huge, and you need to identify that these are all the avenues I need to go through and excel in life. Congratulations to you, and have a very wonderful life ahead.
Thanks, Ganesh. There's one question somebody just asked. I think this is addressed to Ajay. Will knowledge in blockchain technology with CA have a good career in Big Four? And which skills are have more career opportunity, ESG or blockchain?
Blockchain, Shriram, I mean, my personal view, it was never such a great thing. I mean, what we are seeing right now is that blockchain is nowhere so much critical. It was like many people said, it was a solution to a problem that never existed. So it is something which is not so existent now. ESG, yes, it's very important. If I were to choose between learning between ESG versus blockchain, or a candidate who knows ESG versus blockchain, ESG is definitely far more relevant. Yeah. Even any skills that they show, say Power BI dashboard, if they learn and if they show that skills that they know Power BI, that's also another skill, because that helps to give a lot of visualization. Power BI. Power BI is now the advanced version of Excel tools. It kind of helps to give a lot of visualization, analytics, and things that really help when we do the audits.
Very interesting. Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot. That was a very, very interesting session. I hope our students also found it equally interesting. And thanks a lot to both of you for sparing your valuable time on a Saturday morning and attending this session and addressing our students. I wish both of you all the very best and have a great weekend ahead.
Thank you, Shriram. Thank you for the opportunity, and once again, congratulations to all the CAs here, and look forward to meet you sometime in person. And of course, all the very best for your future.
Yeah, thanks.